Good evening, everybody. It's Dr. D. Bell Williams. I'm super excited to be with you all this evening. I do apologize for getting back to you a little bit later. We started and then we weren't live anywhere. So I wanted to come back on and just kind of reboot us. As Gretchen said a few minutes ago backstage, this is the new normal. And so we have to get used to technological issues and different things that may come up. So I'm super excited that you would jump back on and join us again. I am elated about the guest that I have tonight. I've already mentioned her name, and I say it with such full confidence because I have full confidence in who she is. For those of you who are watching for the first time, welcome to Unlimited Edition Live. I'm Dr. D. Bell Williams. I am a global educator, school and community relations specialist. And what that simply means is I travel the world, I train educators, but I never leave home forsaken. And so what I enjoy doing is connecting school and community partners together so that we bring resources to our future, and that's our children. So tonight is no different. Our children need to understand the voting process. They need to understand what it's like to be a part of election, to be a part of a primary, and then to also know what a runoff is. One of the things that we found in education is many of our students and their families aren't often as educated about the voting process. And so tonight, my guest is not only going to talk about her run, her campaign, but also how important it is to make sure that we're all educated about the voting process. So tonight, I'm super excited to have the candidate that is running for Richland County Council District 7. Now, I'm super excited for several reasons. One, District 7 is my personal district. So I'm super excited to share, root her on, to push her. Of course, you know, when we voted on last week, Tuesday, I voted for her, and I'll be very open about that. And so we're going into a runoff for this coming Tuesday, not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, I should say, June 23rd. We will be voting in a runoff for Gretchen. And last Tuesday, I know there were some problems at the polls. Candidates' names weren't on the ballot, long lines, exhausted poll workers. We had a lot of things happen on last week. But don't let that fool you. Your voice is still needed, whether that is by way of voting absentee ballot or by showing up at the polls. One, as voting for Gretchen, or two, working at the polls as a poll worker to ensure that that process is different this time around. So without further ado, I do want to share with you all an amazing individual. I had the experience of working with her for the past 6 months. She was in our 2020 cohort class with South Carolina Emerge, which is an organization in Columbia, South Carolina that prepares women to run as a Democratic Party and to run and win elected offices. So I've had the pleasure of working with Teen Barron as a supporter, as a sister, as a classmate. And I watched this woman, y'all. She campaigned through an unexpected pandemic, through civil unrest in our country, as a wife, as a mom of young children, and also as a classmate as she worked to increase her knowledge in working a campaign. And she did it sweatlessly. And we're here today to get her across that threshold. So this evening, guys, I want to introduce you to my friend, my sister, my classmate, and your next county councilwoman for Richland County Richland County District 7. Thank you guys so much for watching. You all welcome Gretchen as she comes in. Hey, Gretchen.
Hey, Dee. This is super exciting.
Super glad that you are here. We have some amazing new followers that have started following the Dr. D Unlimited page, as well as my personal page. And of course, I know that you have those of your supporters that are with you on this evening who may not be familiar with the platform. Some who follow me may not know exactly who Gretchen Barron is. They saw your name on the ballot, but want to know exactly who you are. Just tell them a little bit about who you are.
Well, you did such a fine job earlier. But I will say that, to echo what you said, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a business owner, community volunteer. I call myself a professional volunteer. And that is, I do that just as much as I do my day-to-day job. And I'm a a longtime resident of District 7. I bought my first home when I was 22 years old
Wow.
in District 7. I still have that home. I still live in District 7, a few miles down the road. So I have a vested interest in District 7. I love, love, love a good laugh. I love a good laugh, and we've done a lot of that.
Right.
We've done a lot of that in our class, whether it was face to face for the first 3 times and the rest of it virtually. And I'm so looking forward to visiting the beach someday soon.
Someday soon. I'm
Some,
with you on
some,
that, Gretchen.
someday soon. Someday soon. So I take the lighter approach of who Gretchen Barron is. I've been giving these speeches and been on interviews and really digging down into who I am. And I really believe that for those of you who are just meeting me for the first time, I should not take that for granted. So for those of you who are meeting me for the very first time, I'm Gretchen Barron. I've been running this race since November, jumped in real early because I felt like it was important that people had an opportunity to get to know the person that they are electing.
That's good.
Um, it is no longer acceptable for us to look at elected officials as celebrities.
Mm,
We're constituents. We're a part of this community, and I'm not a celebrity. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking as my slogan says, I'm here to serve, and I'm going to work. I'm not going to a social club. I'm going to work. And District 7 needs somebody who's willing to work for them and be their voice and to be their light, to be an advocate, to lead through transparency, accessibility, and integrity. And that's what I plan to do.
absolutely. Gretchen, you did an amazing job. I mean, that was great. I love what you said, and I'll be very honest about the climate of the political nature of our climate sometimes. We do find and we see people who are often running for these positions for clout, status, to feel like a celebrity or to have a name for themselves. But you and I are both believers.
Right.
And the Bible tells us that the greatest of these is the one who serves.
Right.
And so when you say that you're coming to this platform, you're coming to this race as a servant leader, as one who has a heart to serve, that speaks volumes. And to me, if you're watching, it puts her in a league of her own. Because again, we don't see that a lot, from the political framework. There's so many people who are trying to use this platform for so many unintegral reasons. But I can tell you, Gretchen is not one of those. So we're going to dive in and talk a little bit more about, what her campaign is running on. Clearly, you know that she is a woman who will offer her service for her community. She's invested in her community. I mean, the fact that she has been in the resident for several years, bought her first home in District 7, has laid her foundations, pitched a tent, and raised her children in District 7, and have been working consistently in District 7. So, Gretchen, tell our audience a little bit about like what you're running your campaign on, what you've been speaking to the people of District 7 and the people of South Carolina. What have you been speaking to them about what your campaign is all about?
So we decided to take the approach of, we have 3 tiers that we're working from, but our goal was to take these 3 tiers and then fill in the blanks, if you allow me to say, by talking with the citizens of District 7. So our 3 tiers are: first, education. That's real near and dear to both of our hearts. And
Absolutely.
that is education, that children have an opportunity to have access to equitable resources no matter what their zip code is.
Absolutely.
That's very important. So the children in Richland 1 and the children in Richland 2 are afforded the same opportunities. And we saw that firsthand when COVID forced us to e-learn.
Yes.
And we gave our children and our students laptops and Chromebooks, and we said, go home and learn. But there's a small piece of information and small piece of equipment that they needed called Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
It's Wi-Fi.
Yep.
And it was not a big deal for my household, but I know just down the road, it was a big deal for children to get their work completed. So that left a gap in services. That left a gap in children being able to learn, and to continue to learn during a pandemic.
Right.
So that's important to me, that our children have all the resources they need to be successful, because when we give them the resources that they need, then they're able to go away to college and
Yeah.
then come back to Columbia or to Blythewood and to live and put roots down like we did.
Yeah.
And which brings me to my next point, which is economic development. If
That's
we don't create a sound infrastructure in place, for children to be able to, and students to come back, and make it attractive for individuals who are looking for work to stay here,
mm-hmm.
they're not coming. What does that look like? That looks like that we have to build with the future in mind. That means that we do not, we don't just put up apartment buildings and hospitals and other things that will further congest our roads. That we don't do that. We don't do that. But what we do is we put an infrastructure in place first. That means that we have the roads that can handle extra traffic. We know where we're placing these buildings. Are we placing them in community, right up to a subdivision? That's a big deal for District 7. We have populations in District 7. They want to remain rural. They want to make sure that their farm life is good. So we've got to look out for that. How we look out for that is that we don't rubber stamp everything that comes through,
That's
and
good.
that we look at our economic development plan to say, you know what, that may not be a good idea here. Let's put it somewhere else. It also means that we have to work with the other municipalities
Mm.
in our county to bring them in. And that's the smaller ones as well as the larger ones. And then lastly, we need an active voice to represent District 7.
That's
We
so
need
good.
someone who will show up for us, show up in our community at the drop of a dime. I spent the day talking with some community leaders, and in having these conversations, they were very grateful that I even called them.
Wow.
That's important. We've got to have active leadership. And active leadership says that you called me, so I got to call you back.
Mm-hmm.
You invited me to come. And if I can't come, I owe you an explanation why I can't come. I can't come this time. Can I come another time? Can I send someone? That's important to District 7. And that's why I'm running. And we're going to make sure that next week on the 23rd, we get those things and we start working towards them now, not later.
That is awesome, Gretchen. There were a couple things. Of course, you put fire into me when you begin to start talking about education. And for those that are watching, that are coming on, that may be new to my voice or Gretchen. If you're new to me, then I'm an educational advocate. I'm an educator, 18 years in the field, and I'm an educational consultant. So I work with a lot of schools and school districts, not only in South Carolina, across this nation or across this world. And when she talked about, having active leadership, one who will not only just talk, but also walk. The walk for those that need services, especially during a time that we have all endured an international, a global pandemic. And it has affected some of our citizens who are only a mile down the road, or maybe even across the street, depending on how our districts are carved up. And so that is very, very important. Economic development. I think someone showed up here, Rosalind Goodwin. She said, build with the future in mind.
That's right.
That is amazing. Like, that's the type of leadership that you want, not someone who's going to continue to rehearse those old things or continue to want the old systems to put in play. Our generation is changing. Our children are not who we were when we were children. They are not like generations before us. And so they need sound leadership, someone who's going to be active in their approach. There's so many comments here. Demi, our SE Merge sister here,
Hey,
saying flip
Demi.
the tables, Barron, to serve District 7. So super excited about that. A lot of go Team Barrons here. If you all see me looking back and forth, I'm looking at your comments. I love Michelle Jackson's comment, no shows must go. Like it's literally time to clear the air.
Yeah.
I shared this, for those that are watching, for both Gretchen and I, you should know, if you know us personally, you know that we're both believers and we walk by faith and not by sight. And to Michelle's point, when she said no shows must go, I remember back in 2019, as I was praying and preparing for 2020, one of the things God began to share with me in September, Gretchen, he said that 2020 would be the changing of the guards. And my God, has that not happened from January to where we are now? There have been so many changes from the political stratosphere, from the educational stratosphere, from medical stratosphere, like every area I go, everything is changing and the guards are changing. And I truly believe that Gretchen is one of the guards that will be shifting into position to serve the people of Richland County, specifically in District 7. So going in,
I just want to jump in there. When we're talking about shifting and we're talking about changing how we do business, we've got to make sure you can change. I was on a live last night with Beezy Baby, and one of the things she said, or her t-shirt said, we got to change. If we want to change laws, we got to change people.
That's so good.
And that thing just, I got to get that shirt. But we need to change another t-shirt. But we've got to change not only people, but we've got to change how people think. How people think, because we want something different, but we're a little uneasy to do something differently. So we say, yeah, we want somebody new, and then we go to the poll and press the name we know. Or I'll use something as simple as, I want to lose weight, but we're still eating. And so we've got to switch the methods. I like to say Richland County is not your grandma's county anymore.
So good.
It's different.
That's so good.
It's different. We're commanding something different. And we see that. We see that when you've got 4 seats in a runoff, it's a new day.
It's a new day.
It's a new day. It's time to do new things. And we've been saying our runoff pushes. It's just time for people to show up differently. It's time for people to show up. And when we were growing up, my mom used to say, "Where you show out is where you get woe out." It's time to show up and show out.
Listen, go ahead, hon. Go ahead.
No, when you show up and you show out, that means that you're showing out with your constituents in your ear. In your ear, already know. I know what they want in Starks Terrace. I know what they want in Lincolnshire. I know what they want in Spring Valley West. How do I know that? Because I talk to them. I talk to them, and I'm so serious about this. This is not a social club. We've got work to do. We can align ourselves in Richland County to be a major powerhouse.
Absolutely.
A major powerhouse. We are the capital. The capital is located in our county.
Absolutely.
We can transform things by things as simple as working with the municipalities here, partnering, collaborating. There's no reason why Richland County Council is not collaborating with all of the entities in this surrounding area to have the greatest impact. A lot of what's wrong, and here's my mama again coming out of me, a lot of what's wrong can be simply fixed by talking.
So good.
And
So
we don't talk enough.
listen,
Or when we're talking, we've got to talk with a purpose and
absolutely.
with knowing that there is solutions. So let's just don't have a conversation and walk away with a task list. No, no, no. Let's have a task list with suspense dates and identifying who's doing what, because we're closing the door. We're making decisions that impact people's lives every single day. And it's not fair to continue to make these decisions with these people with their lives in the balance. They're in our hands. County council makes decisions for just about every part of your life. So we can't treat it like a social club. We got to take it seriously.
Listen, you're on fire here tonight, and it's just going to be what it's going to be. You got two fireballs here, and so I'm going to work my way backwards from a couple of things that you said here. And I mean, you got people just commenting left and right. Another one of our Emerge sisters is on here. Helen Pendarvis is on here as well. And she said, yes, let's put that on a t-shirt for sure. But I love what you are saying. As Michelle said, our citizens deserve better. And when you talk about communicating, many things can be solved through a simple conversation. I am not originally from District 7. I moved here 2011 is when I moved to District 7. So I'm from the country. And the way we say that, Gretchen, is plain talk, give good understanding.
Come on now, that's good.
So this is exactly what we mean by that. Like when you talk about standing up for people, when you talk about speaking for the needs of people, you need to be plain, direct, because people's lives are in the balance. And one of the things that we don't talk about enough, even from a church and a ministry perspective, is the calling that's on a politician's life. If you have stepped into the role as a politician, which there are several who will position themselves, or God positioned them in the Bible to be politicians. You got Daniel, you got Joseph. They were politically positioned for their people. You have Esther, politically positioned for their people. And you cannot be a person who walks into this particular, at least not anymore, because the guards are changing. And I believe that this is a time where God is shifting genuine people into positions of power because they care about the people. Just like there are things that, you know, when people think of the Bible, if they think of religion, they think of church, they only see it in just this small sphere. But when we're sent out to work, one, as an educator, yourself, as going into the political field, we are sent. That's a calling. So we have to rest in that. And we're going to talk about, because it goes perfectly into the next question. So the amazing things that you are sharing, again, you keep going back to that, the center of this. This is not about popularity. This is not about being, you know, a celebrity or having clout. We are in a time where citizens' lives are hanging in the balance, and decisions have to be made. And they need to be made by people who actually care about the citizens. You heard Gretchen say it. If you are watching, we're talking, we're diving in. Gretchen just stated one of the reasons why she knows the needs of the people is because she spoke with them. She spoke with them directly. And these are the type of people that we want in position. We want people who understand the hearts, the minds, and the needs of people. Please make sure that you are sharing, starting a watch party. Make sure you are spreading this message around, whether or not you live in District 7. I want to make sure that those that are watching understand who Gretchen is, because she may start in District 7, but you never know what lies ahead for the future. We want her in this position so she can give the people what they need. So share. You may have family members that live in District 7. You may be around, or you educate students who live in District 7, though you may not live in the district. Make sure you are sharing this information, because she is letting you know who she is, who you're voting for, what the name Barron means, and we're going to go right into talking a little bit more about that. So Gretchen, you've laid an amazing foundation about your campaign, the purpose of your campaign, your platform. So the next question I want to ask you is, what is your why? Again, we talked a little bit about it, but I want to know deep within, and you can share that, because I love stories, and I know that my audience loves stories as well. So share with us, what is your why? Why you? Why are you running? And why should people vote for you?
So it emerged. We talked about, we don't say why anymore. We say why not. We say why not. But my why really started by, I spoke earlier. I am a community volunteer at heart. I have some days I volunteer more than I work. And and my husband said, "Are you going to work today?" Uh, but and in doing so, what I found that there is a group of people who do not have a voice.
Mm.
They don't have a voice. They don't have someone advocating on their behalf. They don't have someone using their influence, or like how you're doing today, using your platform to ensure that they get what they need. And I found myself, you know, troubleshooting this one and that one, and I'm like, okay, that's not my job. That's not, I'm not supposed to be doing this. There's someone who is elected to do this. And so when I reached out to that elected official to ask a few questions, I'll just say it like this: I didn't like the response that I got. And anybody who knows me knows that, okay, you gave me something that I didn't want and I didn't appreciate, and I came home to my sounding board, which is my husband, and I'm like, this ain't working. I can't believe, and I can't believe, and I can't believe, and I cannot believe. And he looked at me, he said, Gretchen, what are you going to do about it?
Come on.
You complain about it every day. You can do something about it. And I said, no, maybe later. And, you know, before I knew it, I felt in my gut that the time was now.
Yeah.
And that's what I did not have, I went through Emerge as a candidate. Most people go through Emerge trying to decide if they're going to be a candidate. And I was already well in the game, already announced and everything. So I wasn't a politician at heart. I volunteered on several campaigns and all, but to actually say, "Oh, okay, I know what to do. We're gonna do this, this, and this." I didn't. I didn't know, but what I did know was that we needed more for our district. We didn't need it more for our community, and here I am. Send me. and and I've been going ever since. And what I told someone today when I was talking with them was that let's get over the threshold on the 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get elected, because we all want something new.
Absolutely.
We all want something new. And yeah, we had 3 people in the race. Now there's 2. So we have to make a decision. You know what you don't want. So there's only one other option. And we thank you in advance for your vote. And then after the 23rd, let's go to work.
Let's go to work.
Let's go to work now. I don't have to wait till I get sworn in and all those things, but we can start laying the foundation. So when I when I go, and I'm on the day that I sit in my seat for the first time and open up my first packet, I'm going with my iPad and my notes already from every subdivision, every community that I've met with. I know what they need. I know what they want. So when we're having discussions, my filter becomes my community,
That's
and
so good.
that's my why. I
Woo!
want someone sitting in a seat where their filter is District 7. We gotta have it.
Listen, I hope somebody's typing that in the comments. I'm trying to get it in there now. My filter becomes my community.
Yeah.
Like that right there, just sent me off. Like literally trying to send this. My filter becomes my community. Like that's how I know what's needed. Like I spoke individually, and I spoke with families, and I spoke with single moms, I spoke with
Mhm.
single dads, I spoke with grandmothers raising children, I spoke with aunties and uncles raising their own children and family members. I spoke with families who own businesses. I spoke with people who lost loved ones from COVID-19. I spoke with these
Yeah.
people. I
Yeah.
spoke with them. And that right there, you filter it through the community. That is so amazing. Like, I'm taken aback. I'm ready to shout, give an offering, or do something because that was amazing. Like, if you are watching, and I mean, if you don't take anything from this conversation, that was a big nugget. And I think that that's important in any aspect of service, whether it's whether you're an educator, whether you are running for an elected office, whether you are a medical professional. It doesn't matter what aspect. If you are serving a community by default, even if you're not in an elected position. I remember growing up with my grandmother, who was also an educator, and I grew up watching her be a community advocate and serving the community by default, because as an educator, you serve the community.
Right.
You are serving children. You are serving your community by providing an education for those citizens that live within that area. And so you have to filter everything. It's so funny that you said that. And shameless plug here for those that are watching. I literally just launched a book in March called Culture Focused Teaching. Had no idea we would be in a pandemic, had no idea we would be in civil unrest, and still having to persuade our nation that Black Lives Matter. And I wrote a book called Culture Focused Teaching, which assists educators with understanding the roles that they have within the school systems and within the classrooms. Of course, within that book, we talk about educator bias. And that's not just for white educators, it's for Black educators as well, because there are different cultures that we come from, whether it's our race, ethnicity, or even our socioeconomic statuses can separate us within culture. So I talk about all of those different things. But one of the things that I talk about, Gretchen, that you share is filtering through the eyes of the community. But I don't say it like you say it. What I do is encourage educators to study the demographics of their community. Yeah. If you moved from a specific area, you weren't raised in that particular community and worked in that school, learn about that community so you can filter your work through the eyes of the people that live there. Study the demographics, study the socioeconomic statuses of the families of the students that you serve. There's so many ways you can reach out when you are working in any system. So again, if you're working in any system, filter it through the eyes and the hearts of those that are working and the voices of those who are living in that community. So like I said, I'm ready to just fly off the handle because
you know, Dee, it's real difficult to be a part of a group that you're not really a part of.
Oh, that's so good.
You can't. So I'm an elected official now, and I'm here. So I don't come down here. And I heard that story too. You know,
man.
I heard that story, the story that, well, we helped so-and-so get elected. And then once they were elected, we were off, he or she was off limits. Yeah, I've heard that. So it's very difficult. We've got to remain true to staying engaged with our community. And so one of the things that I'm working right now through these phone calls and these emails, and you know, and it's real. It's real. This is my notebook. So this is the teacher in me says I need this, and then I'll type it up and put it on my iPad so I can look, you know, real 2020 like. But I mean, I got notes from every phone call that I made today with the community's name on it and who I spoke to and what their challenges are and what they're looking for. And then now we can take this and keep abreast of what the issues are. And literally once this community wanted speed bumps, we got speed bumps over here, check.
That's good.
So it's like a you know, at Christmas time. It's like at Christmas time, we have a wish list. And we get the boys, they give us a wish list. And literally on Christmas morning, after they've opened up all their gifts, they pull that list out and they're saying, yeah, we got that, we got that, we got that. That's what a servant leader is. A servant leader is someone who is fulfilling the wish list and making sure that the community that they represent is getting the services that they need. And we have to make sure that, you know, there are things that county council just doesn't govern over.
Right.
But it does not mean that it's not my job to connect with the entity that does.
That's so good.
So we've got to still, that means that I might govern at county council level, but I still got to talk to the House of Representatives, and I've got to talk to the senators, and I've got to talk to, to the city council and the school boards, because, every joint supplies.
Uh-huh.
Every joint, every bone in our body serves a purpose. And so if every bone in our body serves a purpose, then every part of this government entity, local government, works together. It works in tandem. There should not be a reason why I'm having conversation about, there's 6 roads in a subdivision, and 4 of them are county and 2 are state, and nobody knows how to navigate the conversation to make it work.
Right.
That should not be the case.
Absolutely.
And so we've got to really, really, when we start filtering, we got to keep filtering, and we got to stay connected, because it otherwise we've lost touch.
Absolutely.
And we can't, and then now we no longer know what the community needs.
Man, that's you again. You're speaking my language. Building relationships is the key, and maintaining those relationships is what I believe will sustain the momentum of this change. Someone I saw posted earlier that Richland County is changing. We have an opportunity to be a beacon, a light that sits on a hill that can't be hidden. We're the capital city. We should be leading our state in all areas of equity, in all areas of economic opportunity, in all areas of diversity. We should be leading our state. And I believe the time is now.
Yeah.
I believe that is why we have several different runoffs coming up on June 23rd. I believe that is why, as we are voting, that seats are changing. I believe that that's why it's happening, because there is a changing of the guards. So if you are watching, make sure that either by absentee ballot or by showing up at the polls on June 23rd, 2020, that you elect Gretchen Barron, County Councilwoman for Richland, District 7, because she is the change that you've been looking for. She shared earlier that we have to change the minds of the people. I believe we change the minds of the people by challenging the minds of the people.
That's good.
The change will come as a result of a renewed understanding. She mentioned eating and losing weight. And I also want to add in the aspect of exercise. When you want to see change in your body, you've got to introduce your body to exercise. And there will be days where you want to give up. There will be days where it will be a little bit painful, because you're introducing your muscles to a scheduled regimen that you weren't on before. And so as we are going through these elections, as we are looking at making the changes, upseating those who are not working, putting those in place who are working, let us challenge our muscles by going out to the voting polls, by challenging our minds to want differently, to see differently, and to position others to be that difference that we're looking for. Not only am I challenging you to go out and vote, I'm also challenging you to support. I'm challenging you that as someone like Gretchen, who has poured out her heart tonight and shared what she desires to do for District 7 here in Richland County, I say to you, support her. As you elect her, which I truly believe that you will, as you elect her, continue doing the work. Continue to work alongside her as she goes out to meet with state and House representatives, as she goes out to meet with other council members to get the resources that is needed for District 7. So I challenge you to change your mind. I challenge you, and I challenge you to think differently as we go into these runoffs. You all see our community, not only from a local perspective, but you see it from a state and a national perspective. I'll say this live on air because I can challenge that way. We even have a government, a state governor, that we often don't understand what direction we're going in as a state. So there's change that is needed in our state, but it starts at the local levels within our communities. We have a nation that is being led blindly. There are places that happen at the local that trickle up to the national level. We're in a time where change is needed, and it starts with electing people like Gretchen Barron, because she is the change that you all so desire to see. So I say that I use my platform to elevate her, to support her, to sustain her through this process, and I ask that you do the same. So if you're just jumping on and you missed earlier parts of our conversations, make sure that you go back, watch the replay, share this message with others, tag family members that you know live in District 7. Push this message around, because we want to elect Gretchen Barron for this particular seat. You want to share anything, Gretchen, as we prepare to close out this conversation? My last question is going to go to some of the stuff that you kind of already shared in at the polls on June 23rd or in an absentee ballot. Why Gretchen Barron? Close us out. Why Gretchen Barron?
So here's the deal, y'all. We have an opportunity for change. That's kind of been our theme tonight. We have an opportunity for change. You know, I will not sit here and tell you that I am not tired. I won't sit here and tell you that campaigning during a pandemic that you can't Google how to do has not been exhausting. But I told the story a couple of weeks ago. It's in moments when we're passing out literature and a young lady named Brianna yells from her porch, "You Gretchen Barron? I'm going to vote for you because I believe everything you say." That was the push I needed to keep going. It's moments like yesterday, the corner waves and people blowing their horn, giving us thumbs up, yelling out the window, "You got this." It's moments like that that makes me know that I've got to keep pushing, and I've got to push past every emotion that I might have about this race, and to keep pushing till June the 23rd and get to the finish line with a W.
Yes.
Because it's not enough for us to go vote. We got to go vote, take somebody, because we got to win.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's more of the same. So it's time for District 7 to show up. You've not had anybody to show up for you in the last few years, so show up for yourself.
So good.
Show up for yourself, because we owe it to ourselves. And if they can't fix the problem, we need to fix the problem. And how do we fix the problem? We fix the problem by either going voting absentee tomorrow at 2020 Hampton Street, or you wait till the 23rd, and you don't be frustrated with the process.
Good. Talk about
because
that.
we know that our election system, there's some challenges there. We already know that. So we give them grace.
Mm-hmm.
We give them grace, and we stand in line because we want change. And we don't get frustrated. So you already know you need your survival kit. I've been talking about your election day survival kit. What does that look like? You need your mask, you need your own pen, you need your proper identification, take your own Q-tip. And now that we are expecting weights, because District 7 had record breaking, we had the highest turnout in the county.
Absolutely.
So since we know that we're going back to the polls, go ahead and take your umbrella, get your umbrella, bring your book, get your bottle of water, do what you need to do and show up. Because I promise, when you show up on June the 23rd,
come on,
I'm going to show up for you. This will be a face that you will see regularly. This will be a face that you will be familiar with. This will be a voice that you will hear on the phone, on social media, because we owe it to ourselves. This is your seat. This is your seat. This seat is not, and we've made it about people that run for the office, but this seat is about the people who vote for the office. Get your seat, take your seat, and let's go to work, District 7. We got a lot of work to do. We got to catch up because we've lost some time. But I believe I serve a God that is the God that will redeem time.
Yes, he will.
So we've lost time, but we about to get it back.
Awesome.
So show up, District 7, June the 23rd, or vote absentee, 2020 Hampton Street. D, thank you so much for bringing me in today and just having this conversation. It needs to continue. I would do a live every day if I could, because I want people to know how important this message is.
Man, that is so good. Again, if you've been watching us the whole time, you probably feel like me. We've been in a advocacy. We've been in church. We've been in, I mean, everywhere. and it's been amazing. That was an awesome close. I do want to reiterate something that she said as we prepare to close out is make sure you have your, I think what you call it, her voter supply pack or
education survival kit.
Election
Election day survival kit.
Election day survival kit. And even Michelle reminding us, bring your Q-tips, bring your gloves, also wear your mask. Continue to be safe, bring hand sanitizer, have it in your car, whatever you need. Make sure you bring bottled water. As she stated, which is factual, District 7 had the largest turnout on voting day. So they are expecting large numbers. And so you want to make sure you bring your election day survival kit. We understand that the state election committee or county election committee, there are some concerns. We understand that. But our focus on the 23rd and in between time is going to be electing Gretchen Barron. Our focus is going to be getting to the polls and getting her elected at all costs. Showing up, showing out. As my uncle would say, that's it, that's all. No excuses, nothing. That's what we want to do. There are several people here rooting you on, Gretchen. Jermaine Johnson is out here. Super glad to see my brother. We need change.
Congratulations.
That change. Tashika Curtis Pugh, Councilman Pugh's wife, is out here saying keep pushing. Out here, Zalu Amir has his fist up saying we need change. Like we have several comments, people out here. Team Barron, Latoya Marshall said, yes, go Team Barron. You are the change that we seek. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Several other comments here. Thank you all so much. Amanda is out here, our SE Emerge sisters, saying, hey, sisters. Hey, Amanda. She's out there in Greenville, running for Greenville County Council, out there securing seats and everything. So we're pushing her to November as well. So we're super excited. Thank you all so very much. Bring your election survival kits. Cannot stress that enough. No excuses. Vote for Gretchen Barron. Thank you all so much for watching. Gretchen, thank you for being on here tonight. This is what sisters do. Yes. We are part of that 2020 Emerge South Carolina class, and thank you also to our sisters who showed up tonight to watch this live. Share it. You may not be in our county, but you may know someone who's in Richland, District 7, who is in our county. Make sure you share this information, and just make sure there were just amazing nuggets that was given on this platform that people need to know in any field. So share this information. So thank you again to our SE Emerge sisters for showing up tonight and sharing this information. I'm super excited. We've hit our hour time. I told Gretchen, I like to keep to our time, but I think we have given you value. We've given you resources, and we've given you more than enough reasons to go out to the polls and vote for Gretchen Barron for Richland County Council District 7. So show up, guys, and show out. Thank you all again for watching. Thank you again, Gretchen, for sharing this platform, for being here. As my sister, I have your back in any and every way possible. And also, before we go, I did want to ask one question that I did not get to share. Are you still raising funds during this time as well? And is there a link that individuals who have
Thank
been
you.
inspired by this, that they can go out and donate to your campaign?
Thank you so much. We've been very sensitive during COVID days of how we ask. Um, because we know that many people have been out of work. But and I like to say, if you have extra, we definitely need that extra for this runoff. We planned as much as we could, but the more the merrier. And you can go to GretchenBarron.com, and the contribute tab is there at the top. We have some set amounts, but if you go to the last tab, you can put in any amount that you would like to give, and we take every donation and we cheer for every donation, whether it's $5 or 500. We're excited about the amount, because people don't have to give their financial support, and we thank you in advance for supporting not only this candidacy with volunteers, or even now with your money. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So you guys go out there to, teambarron.com or GretchenBarron.com.
GretchenBarron.com.
GretchenBarron.com. Gretchen, for those of you all who are social media savvy, is also on Instagram at TeamBarron7 as well. So, you can follow her there as well. And of course, I'm certain she has a Facebook for
everything is Team Barron 7.
Team Barron.
All social media platforms are Team Barron 7. So it's not difficult to find. You find one, you can find them all.
Awesome. Gretchen, we're going to go ahead and say our salutations at this moment, because I know as you prepare for this runoff that there are lots more work that you are doing behind the scenes, and so didn't want to hold your time very long, but I want to thank you again for gracing this platform, and we will not only be praying, but we will be showing up at the polls for you, and we will be supporting you as you are seated as the next Richland County Council for District 7. So I'm super excited about that. And thank you again for being here so much. Thank you all for watching and participating. There are a few things that I want to share with you as we close out. So if you guys who are watching can hang on just a few moments out there. Gretchen, I just want to make sure that I give you your time. Thank you so much. So have a good evening, and we will talk with you soon.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Hey guys, thank you so very much for watching tonight. Thank you all for showing up here on our Facebook Live platform. Thank you for listening to the value that we've shared on tonight. I know that you all have heard me talk about this. This platform is about reaching out to the community as a global educator and school and community relations strategist. What I do is connect the community to the greater body of people who are watching, who are in our community. And Gretchen is a part of the community where I serve. So those of you that know me, I am an educator. I'm an educational consultant. So to find out more about the work that I do for schools, you can actually go and out to www.culturefocusteaching.com. I'm actually doing a promo starting tomorrow. If you know educators in this climate that we are in, if you know educators that are in schools and they are working, with children in any capacity, you want to connect them with culturefocusteaching.com. It is actually a new method that I am sharing with educators on learning how to teach from a culture-focused perspective. And culture is not just about, our race, our ethnicity, but culture is about how we grew up, how we do things, what works for the communities that we live in. So again, I've put the information out here on the ticker. You can see it out there running at the bottom of the screen. Make sure you visit culturefocusteaching.com. I am going to be doing a free webinar for educators. So make sure you send them to that website so that they can get signed up, logged in, to get the information that they need so that they can continue to educate our children. Our children have been through an international pandemic, a global warfare here with what we're dealing with here in a national unrest, dealing with the killing of unarmed Black men and women. So they're going back into the school system with a different culture. So our educators will need to be trained on how to appropriately set up their classrooms from a culture focused perspective. So you want to share that information. I'm pretty sure that there is value that I can bring to your schools and your school districts. I not only serve in this area of South Carolina, but I serve globally. So if you're watching from another state, another country, make sure you reach out to us at culturefocusedteaching.com. Also, if you need engaging professional development, whether it's at school or any other field, make sure you reach out to us at drdunlimited.com. I'm certain there's some things in our services that we can help you with. You can find me on all social media platforms almost. I am on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Dr. D Unlimited. You also found my space here where we interviewed Gretchen, and I'm also on Instagram at Dr. D Unlimited. I'm also on LinkedIn under D Bell Williams, so you can find me there. Also a professor at Benedict College, so for those that are watching, you have some Benedict babies, I may have touched them or educated them. So I'm all over the place here in Richland County, but and all over the world. But you can find me, reach out to me, and we'll make sure that we're able to get you on our calendars. Again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much. Share this message and let's get Gretchen elected. And again, let's connect really, really soon so that we can be the change that we so desperately need. Again, if you know me and you watch me personally, you know that I always like to leave you with this. Don't let anything stop you from making the changes and being the change that you want to see in society, because you are unlimited. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to tag and share. Thanks, you all. Have a great and amazing evening.